Setting up your meeting. Done. Redirecting. Hey, Shoji's car!
2,000 views on your fuel filter.
Pop out. Pop out. I'm excited.
Where is the oil filter one? There it
It
is.
says, get it. Hey,
1,086,000.
what is up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. David, what is up, mister? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Glad everybody's going to take a little break this evening and hang out with us. Big shout out to all of the channel members. We appreciate you. We're going to be picking you, one of you, two of you, for my giveaway, and hope you're going to be listening. Okay, got everything all set up. What up? What up? Canton in the house. Yeah. So in today's news, we this morning woke up to the short video that we made asking a question: why does your 6.7 oil filter leak? 2 more days of the dealer life, counting the hours down. Fred, what is up, bud? Yeah, everybody was going crazy. A lot of haters, obviously. Yes, sir, sir. A lot of goofiness. Had to appreciate you. Had to put some dudes in check, delete a bunch of stuff, but it was cool to see the metrics and everybody interacting with the video and just what we were talking about. There was some good feedback, a lot of not good feedback. Tom says he just changed his fuel filters on his 2020. Used our video, worked great. Thanks, bud. I appreciate the info. I'm glad that somebody's actually doing it in the driveway or doing it for themselves. Kegman, what up? Let him hate. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Big shout out to my buddy. He got married. I don't know if he's on the moon yet. It's good do. What up? But hope he had fun. If you're out there, pal. Flying Wrenches. What is up, buddy? We were glad to have him on last week, promoting him, getting his watch time up with some of the videos he's got going. If you guys checked out his short with the airbag blowing off, it's not something you see every day, especially around work. So that was kind of cool to see. Hate. AAD Vito. You guys remember that 22 truck Ford Boss Me was getting in his shop? One of my boys over in Chicago, in the south side of Chicago, had to get his dually up into his shop, and they wound up replacing the drive shaft, the pinion flange, and unfortunately, I guess the noise is still there. Is going to be maybe the trans. Hopefully, he's just going to get a low time in service and get that rectified quite soon. Cam gear bolt being loose. Yeah. Once the dealer had my plow frame wiring done, that changed my own. Got home. Man, I tell you what, it's all about cleanliness, and I'm telling you all right now, for the people who are disagreeing, I'm not saying that I'm a know-it-all. I've been doing this for 21 years this month. I wasn't born last night. I've used brake clean the entire time and have never had an issue. These guys with these comments and telling that the brake clean is going to hurt the rubber O-ring and it's going to be brittle, this, that, like, I mean, you guys are driving me nuts, man. Um, it uh, it was quite funny reading some of the responses, but nonetheless, I'm going to stick to what I know and what I have been doing.
I mean, you would think that filter gasket would be made to withstand brake clean.
And because it's being heating up and cooling down, heating up and cooling down, its job, and then it's got hot metal on one side and hot oil on the other side. Like, I don't, I don't get what they're trying to paint the picture.
I mean, it's going to be changed within 5,000 to 7,000 miles anyway.
I know,
So,
and even if that, it's going to evaporate right away. It's not like it's sitting in there cooling, just eroding the rubber away. I don't think so. When towing 10,000 pound fifth wheel, ninth gear to eighth gear downshift when a tow haul is rough. I would definitely get with your local dealer, maybe see if there's an update for your trans. I'm sure that is being a 20. Probably could use good PCM, TCM update. Wouldn't you agree? American Truck Nation, I heard Roden quit. Yes. I was able to talk to him on the phone. He's going to come back on, maybe tell us, some of the adventures he's going on right now. No, he did not join the carnival. I know a couple guys were asking that, but no, he did not join the carnival. But yeah, we wish him luck with what he's doing. He's got truck shorters, crazy New England. I did have one of my clients tell me, now this was kind of something I was unexpected, but I mean, was kind of expected. I was hoping. So for you guys that have been changing your fluids and changing your oil, changing your diffs, when you guys are using your fluids, whether it's AMSOIL or it's Motorcraft or whatever, are you guys noticing an actual like difference with how the vehicle is operating? For instance, excuse me, I did rear and front diff service, and just like I did in the video that I showed you guys a few weeks ago. He said he was getting a couple more miles a gallon, and this guy is trucking out to California, coming back, doing East Coast stuff, going down south, and I said that's pretty dang good. Now I did use the Motorcraft stuff, and I don't know what it can compare to the other stuff because I don't really use anything else but the Motorcraft stuff and the diffs. But if I was going to do something, outside of work or perhaps maybe in my own when it comes time, I'm really thinking about checking out something other than stock. And I know a lot of people have been saying that that the AMSOIL gear lube has been real good, and I like the fact that it comes in the bag. Having the ability to get every last drop, you're not sitting there using one of the pumpers like I was using. I thought that was that's a nice feature, using the bag to dispense your fluid. Yeah, brake clean all day long. Now this guy says he does his oil changes 10K with AMSOIL and a Wix filter in between at 5K intervals. And then what do you do, AH? Do you just do like a top off? Do you pre-fill the filter with the oil that you're using? What do you do? Congrats, bro. Oh, thank you, pal. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, I was gonna say oh Fox. I thought that looked familiar. I won the rechargeable light. Heck yeah, heck yeah. That was at 10,000. I'm in Traverse City. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Appreciate you. Um, um, I'll see you in a little bit. Um, okay, break. Yeah, you got to read the fine print. Why would a PCV go bad at 30K? I guess well, that depends.
Idle, low
Yeah,
speed operations.
Austin, bro. I like your emoji. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely good work today. Nice work today. Oh, tell them what we did today, Austin. We did I should have did a video on it because it was actually really rackety. We did 11 through 16. We did water pump. We did my first alternator in a 6.7 out of all of the 6.7s I've ever worked on. And for how long that they've been out, I have replaced one alternator, and I did it today. Um, the wiring had no issues. Somebody had actually performed an overlay, and it was not rigged. I was actually pretty impressed. Noah, thank you. We talked about you today. I got you right here. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if you can hear it. Very good. Uh, the wiring looked really good. And I also had the little convolute was zip tied and everything was evenly spaced. I load tested it, load tested the other two that were going to do the PCM and one from the fusible link. Awesome. Well, it's either the alternator or the PCM. I wasn't going to pick the PCM, so the alternator was the educated guess, and it was it. The first alternator, pretty cool. We did a def heater sender. This was a traffic, like a traffic utility, traffic management type of truck, and it had these big, like storage containers. Like you could get down in the fetal position and put yourself in there. Big overhanging over the frame. Made it kind of cumbersome. We weren't able to lift it. I don't know if you guys listening have dealt with the cab chassis with the inboard or outboard DEF tanks. Sometimes the inboard ones can be a little pain in the butt. The outboard ones, like if it's a rollback wrecker, they'll be like right behind the cab, right there, like on the passenger side. So those okay. But just like Austin, he just commented in, he says vacuum pump. So we put it all back together. This thing was running like garbage, and the alternator wasn't working. The batteries were crap. Um, Water pump just making just horrible noise, and it wound up setting a P 2452 for EGR cooler bypass not functioning. Cody, what is the only thing that a cab chassis is going to use that vacuum pump for?
The cooler.
That's it. That's it. We have hydro boost on cab chassis. On the pickups, if you lose your vacuum pump, you're not only going to lose your brakes, but you're going to lose your EGR stuff. You're going to lose maybe your turbo wastegate actuator if you have that on your model turbo. So we wound up having to disassemble lightly what we already put back apart to reinstall after, mind you, we just did the water pump and the vacuum pump's right above it. So all that stuff was back on. Had Austin was filling up the def while I was taking it back apart. So I was able to have him do it, and it took him a minute to do it because I swear, there. I mean, if I were to think every cab chassis, whether it's a dump, a this, a that, they're all got these weird configurable bodies, and the def line, will be just like this, and it's got to go into the tank from the fill, and then sometimes it's like this, and then sometimes it's got pitch like this. You're pouring backwards. It is a pain in the butt sometimes to fill, and the way the tank was underneath the truck, we didn't empty the tank taking it down, so I didn't want to put the tank back up full. Plus it had a bunch of crap. I don't know what that stuff was, Austin. If it was sand, It almost looked like, it reminded me of floor dry. You know what floor dry, when it's like when it gets wet, not with oil, but with like water, it's like that. You know what I mean? It's just that freaking nasty mess. Um, yeah, had to clean all that off, and some of it wound up going into the tank anyway. So we cleaned that tank out, just with some water, and did the up and down teeter totter, try to get as much as out, as we can, but was successful, and was another 6-7 back on the road. The only thing we put a charge air cooler duct on it. Um, the def heater sender was actually under warranty. It still was in the brackets of 11 years of service or 120,000 miles, to be covered under 18M01. So if any of you guys, if you look up 18M01, I can't remember what the model years that it's saying in the beginning. What up, Brandon Powerstroke, Zeekster? Um, your truck. Oh, and the fuel filters. And what did you do? You learned today. Um, a lot of people forget, or not forget, when that lower filter starts getting tight, you may not be at the stop. Uh, keep keep going just a little bit more. And I was actually able to show Austin the little stop. Use your light, and you can see like the 2 feet come together. And that was when it was good to go. We got a reduced power message, and although he had primed it and didn't get any leaks, it's like, let me lay underneath it really quick, and yep, you can see a little bit of gap. So learning experience. We didn't make any mess, no harm, no foul. But we were able to visually see, hey, next time I feel it and I know it's getting tight, I remember what happened last time. Just keep going, keep going. Look at this gap. No gap. Cool, we're good. So it's very important on those, especially because a lot of guys will get that buzzing noise under the hood, just nonstop. It's like, how come this thing's buzzing? I'm like, well, one of two things: either you got your lid isn't tight enough, or you just got a monster amount of air trapped in somewhere, and it's not going to be good. That's how you starve them pumps, man. Um, but hey, we didn't go down the road. Didn't try to immediately shut it off. I need a cooled steering wheel for down here in Florida. Yeah, right. Um, I did talk to a gentleman who was in Washington State, and he said he had a cooler like insert, and it plugged into the cigarette lighter in the center console, and it was a cooler. I'd never seen that for the Super Duty. I thought that was
Did I send that to you?
kind of a nifty thing. I don't know.
The center console cooler.
Oh yeah, you did actually. But we were talking about some improvements to his truck, and he's like, "Yeah, I got that in the center console." I'm like, "Oh, no way. That's
It's
interesting."
made by Dometic, however you say it. For
Analyst
50.
told me. Rapix may
Whew.
and you don't need to use AH. Interesting.
Wow. Can I take a guess how much it is on Amazon?
How much?
$600.
Yeah.
Does look nice though.
Oh
7.5 liter cooler. That'd be nice
yeah,
to drive back and forth between Florida.
yeah. AH. What oil are you running? Maybe I missed that at the top. I think my next. I'm gonna do it like DS did. When we get at least my next oil change interval, I'm gonna get some to Blackstone and let you guys know. I'll probably have maybe 5,500 on it. Maybe I'll go to 7,500 and um, see what the deal is. I've been told the AMS oil filter is designed different than a stock Wix. I will confirm that, ARod. Interesting. Hervey dropping some AMSOIL bombs. I'm talking about he was the gentleman we had on two live streams ago. Steve Tasha last week for the few I went. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I actually need to fill up, and I'm just going to be using the rest of my bottle of my EDT that I got up here, almost 1030 signature. Yeah, I believe DS Trucks. I think he's got the signature 5W40 in his right now. I could be wrong. If he's listening, I'm sure I sent him an invite. Maybe he'll get on here in a little bit. But I think he's running the signature series 5W40. Um, how many guys out there? I just heard a customer talking about this today. How many of you out there are running that Fumoto drain valve with the little like 90-degree like little quarter turn on their actual drain plug? Take that drain plug out and screw this valve in. I had a customer bring that in once. I've only seen one on a truck. Unfortunately, it was on a 6.4, but customer came in and was inquiring about one today. I was overhearing him talk with one of our advisors, and yeah, I was wondering, like, how many do you guys really have those on your truck? I guess maybe he was an older gentleman, so I guess I could see maybe an older gentleman doesn't want to use any tools, but oh, really, this guy it's a me says he's got it on all of his vehicles. Interesting. I'll have to check them out. That'd be kind of interesting to see.
I'll take a
10W30
I'll take a pass on that on my truck.
the I run the valve. Oh, he said hers. He's got one too. AMSOIL filter were built by Donaldson. I'm sure. Yeah, I there was another Daddy Diesel was telling me, I can't think of the name. The company that makes wicks, Han and Fluger, Han maybe or
Oh,
something.
oh, you mean the ones that supply it for Volkswagen?
No, the people that make wicks filter. It is actually on
Hand
the
filters.
yeah, but it was like Han something. Here comes DS Trucks.
They do the Volkswagen filters too.
All I know is I was trying to do an oil change last week and I had to go to 3 different places to find the materials that I was talking about in the live stream last Sunday. I couldn't believe it. I was just trying to do an oil change, and goodness gracious, everything is back ordered. Couldn't get a Motorcraft FL500.
Myers and Walmart is my go-to places for that.
No, I did not go to Meyer. I did go to Walmart, and it was either one or the other.
What up, Cody?
What's up, DS?
Look at that. We got a live sponsor from Milwaukee. We got the hat, the shirt, probably the pants, the socks. Rep it, baby. Rep it.
See, DS is the guy that needs this cooler.
Was a Milwaukee cooler?
No, it's a center console cooler.
No. What do you? I think that's too much.
Man Hummel, that's what it is. I knew it was two.
What do you think about the the new electric F-150s? The front, they say it's a cooler. I don't know.
I haven't checked that out.
The front trunk.
The frunk. Good to Sean. But where's the long-haired hippie? The hippie busy. The hippie's busy doing hippie things right now. Noah, because that's what was on the lot. It was COVID. It was, goodness gracious. It was that time of the year and nobody was doing anything. Yes, man, is Wix oil filters back order? Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. I don't know what the deal is with the back orderedness. But in the beginning, we were talking about the Million Mile video and the why that oil filter is leaking.
You mean the million view video?
Yeah, I meant the oil filter video. Yeah, and
That really helped me. That video really helped me out a lot.
it's
Not
not.
that particular video, but you had told me about that before in the past.
It's critical to unless you are letting your oil completely drain and you wipe it and nothing comes back down, then you have no reason to spray it down with brake clean.
I mean, here's the thing too, though. If you don't care, if it look how it looks, and if it looks terrible, then I guess it doesn't matter. It's not like it's gonna hurt anything if you leave it looking a mess. It's just gonna look a
No,
mess.
right, but the side of my man's truck should not be all oily. And I've seen
Now
them
you
so
might
bad
smell that.
that it looks like the lower oil pan's leaking.
Yeah, it's
Like
gonna look like
that's not
stuff leaking, and it's gonna.
that's not right. So you know, if you got a customer waiting and you're doing the oil change, like the oil keeps leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking, and even though I wipe it, you'll still have a little drip of oil coming, and by the time you go to spin that filter on, it's collected in that ridge. So I always get in the habit. I just juice that crack right where it goes between the filter and that housing, and then hit it with the air blowgun, doing like a simultaneous spray. And I have a great video, great video outlining for everyone on the way I do oil change. Not all 6.7s I can lift up. And I just wind up doing them on my back because it's just easier to get the Rubbermaid containers that I would highly recommend you guys go get. It $5-6 a piece. Get you the big, the big Rubbermaid container. Ones that are like this, maybe 18 inches tall, fits right underneath the axle, fits right underneath your running boards, right underneath the radius arms. You can do the oil and the oil filter at the same time. Like it's awesome. Straight down, no mess, no oil on your hand, straight down with the oil filter, boom, right into the bin. And then I show you guys how to clean up the tools that you use. And I'm trying to show Austin now the exact same way when you're doing these oil changes to, hey, just use a combo. Just go hit it, FL820. Sometimes the same thing happens. Hit it, you're done. It's not gonna, it will take off Sharpies if you are, one of the guys that, mark the oil filters, but usually you're spraying it on the metal stuff, the bottom of the oil pan. You're not hosing it down into like electrical connectors or anything.
Here's
So
a tip though. Make sure you put the drain plug on there before you do it.
What do you mean?
Make sure you put the drain plug on the oil pan before you spray.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Make sure everything's closed up.
You'd be just making a mess spraying oil all over the place. Best oil for your 6.0. Joe Shear is asking. Well, you're gonna be running 1030 in the winter, 1540 in the summer. Some guys don't. Some guys run the same 1540 or 1030.
Pick your brand.
Whatever you want. At least you're running oil, right?
A lot of guys swear by Shell Rotilla for 6.0s.
Yeah, that T6.
T6.
It's just residual oil. Blast it with brake clean, blow it out, boom, done. I know. Yep. Same thing. Bag trick. Bag trick for oil filter. Oh.
I wouldn't do it with no oil filter on the truck. I would not do that. Like spraying it down without the oil filter to spraying down the housing.
For you guys that got the 6.0, so Vias 3, do you ever fill your 6.0 through the oil filter before you put the oil filter in? Now I have been practicing this when I do what's going on? Give me a kiss. I'll see you later, okay? I will. I have primed, I guess you could say primed, the oil cooler through the oil filter and filled the crankcase that way to kind of help her, because you'll start and then start and so you do this procedure over and over because it's sucking the air and not the air but purging that air out with that oil.
That's how I filled them after
Yeah.
major work right through the top.
Absolutely. He's like, the bag trick. I know ARod hates seeing the black oil on top of that FL 2051 for sure. Just spray it off. Trust me.
I hate seeing it on the 95s.
Same thing. It must just be how they're manufactured. It's like if I had an oil, I don't have an oil filter.
I've got one.
Right? All of these things. I thought I had one over here. All of these oil filters have ridges on them. It's just how it is. I don't
think
know.
it's definitely related to the diesel oil. It's just thicker. Whereas a gas engine, I never had it really be an issue.
Shoot, this guy sleeps with him in his bedroom. Look at this ridge. It's just there.
It's where they
If
crimp
it's got the O-ring there, it's just that's where it's going to be.
That's where they crimp it all together. I mean,
Now that's a big boy. That's like a 2.5 quarter right there.
Definitely pre-fill it.
Definitely pre-fill. Make sure to drop down and hit that thumbs up. We got FBM coming in. Roger that, Echo One.
I got a question for Ford Boss Me.
What is your question?
I'll wait for his audio to connect.
I know his favorite is lasagna.
I reserved this question instead of asking him on his video for tonight. So,
excellent. I'm giddy.
So clear flood mode. Since we all like this conversation,
flood me.
How do we clear flood mode of 7.3 since it does not work?
Well, you don't. I mean,
I didn't comment it because I went out there and tried it myself. So I was like, the only way to do this is just to bump the solenoid over.
Pull a cam sensor.
Bump the solenoid.
It takes 2 to 3 seconds for you to build. It's not like you're running a triple filter Caterpillar engine. I mean, I don't know why people get so bent out of shape over the oil change thing. Oil sits in the motor in like everything. So when you drain the oil, you're not fucking hanging it up on a clothes hanger and just hanging it there for a damn week and letting every drip drop roll out of it. I mean, there's so many nooks and crannies and crevices where oil sits, and then these people come up with this. Well, it's on the first startup and it just ruins the motor and the bearings. Then what do we have auto start stop for? What do we have top mounted and side mounted filters and shit for? I mean, it's all a bunch of hogwash to me when people say stuff like that. It doesn't even make any sense.
I pre-fill my 7.3 filters because I don't know. That's just what I've been done.
You know, that video was more along the lines to troll people than anything, because of the simple fact that so many people get bent out of shape about pre-filling filters. Like, just maintenance your damn vehicle and shut the hell up, man. It's not that big a deal. It was, it wasn't even about the guys that really dumped the oil in the center of their filter, just straight in there. I could care less what people do to their oil filters and stuff like that. I'm just giving another venue for people that really want to be on top of maintenance and stuff like that, or they make a big deal out of stuff that is really not a big deal.
You know what I thought was funny is hundreds, and I say hundreds, thousands, was tripping me out. So check us out, dude. This is Motorcraft Super Premium 5W40. Completely sealed, still has the tin foil on it. It doesn't have tin foil, but I'm telling you it's got tin foil for sake of argument. Just cracking it loose. I haven't even looked in the hole yet. I'll save it for the filter. I'm gonna pour, like there's air between here and the filter. I'm gonna pour, now this little air particles and these molecules, I'm gonna pour right into the filter. Oh, you're putting contaminated oil into your filter. How in the so you're telling me right now that there's contaminated oil sitting in this container?
So where a lot of that spans from is a lot of these manufacturers are now starting to go to not pre-filling, not doing this stuff because of people being lax. People are not clean. People are not paying attention to their surroundings and what they're doing and stuff like that. And you're right. The quartz are the safest bet to dumping it right in the filter if that's what you're going to do. But a lot of these people are, they got these big massive jugs. They pour half of something, or they're resting it on the filter because they're too damn weak to actually hold the thing up, and they're getting stuff all over the place. And it's just it's if you can flood mode the vehicle, there's nothing wrong with it. If you want to dump the oil straight in the center of the filter, I don't care what you do, honestly. But I just get a kick out of people where they're like, "Oh, you're not pre-filling your filters. You're going to blow your engine up." That engine is not. You let it sit for weeks and you come back out to the damn motor and you fire it right up and it never does damage. Look at these people that are gone for weeks on end on business and stuff like that, and they fly back in all the time. And maybe people that have multiple vehicles, I'll go right out there right now, fire up the Dodge, and oil pressure, and it's been sitting for a month. The oil pressure's up in 2 or 3 seconds, just like that.
Now, if you start up one of those 3.5s, you might hear.
That's why I flood mode them.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said there's people out there with just dirt everywhere, like floor dry all over the outside of the container, just pouring. There's definitely that.
Totally not cognitive of what they're doing. Those are the guys that are grinding on the grinding wheels, got their 6.7 fuel system open on the table with the engine that they're assembling. Like, whoa, what are you doing, bro? No. So I guess you got to assume that everybody is not going to be thinking. But there are some people.
There are even diesel techs that are like that. They won't pre-fill the diesel filters because they're actually worried about contamination and stuff like that. And because of how fast oil pressure actually comes up and the amount of oil that's left in the motor, like Caterpillar, they're one of the main proponents of it. They don't want people putting contaminated oil in their fuel filters, and a lot of the majority of the Caterpillar techs will not fill up. They won't pre-fill their cat filters before they even do it because the manufacturer has come out and actually said there's too much contamination in the way people are handling things, and it's just spin the filter on there. It's just a few moments and oil pressure's up right away. You're not going to damage anything in just that little bit of time.
Devices 3, he made a good comment. He goes, and yet our oil filters don't have a seal on the filter, and it comes in a box, and guess where the filter is? In a state of contamination. That's correct. I remember when I had my motorcycle, I'd get the Suzuki filters, and I had Japanese writing all over it, and it came in a little plastic little cellophane. And who knows, these FL 2051s or the 2016s with the pleated elements that are just sitting in the box, who knows how long they've been sitting on the shelf at the depot, or they've been sitting at the dealership. Who knows if they clean their shelves? So all this dust and particles and stuff where it's just sitting. Like, does anybody think about that? And they're concerned about us pouring oil in it, contaminating.
To expand off of what he said, which he's absolutely 100% correct. How many filters have I pulled off the damn shelf still in the box directly from Ford, because we don't order from a middleman. We order directly from Ford. They don't like the chances of like the filters being dropped and all this other stuff, but we still get the filters from Ford dropped. We still get them with metal particles inside the filter. I remember picking up an FL820 and hearing it sounded like jingle bells inside the damn thing. It's jingling all around and everything.
No way.
And I'm like, wait a second, what the hell's wrong with this thing? And
an 820?
This was just a few months ago that this happened.
Wow.
After I got done doing my slew of oil filter videos where I probably cut open hundreds of oil filters to show people what was in all these different types of oil filters. And I literally spent probably $1,300 or $1,400 on all these different types of oil filters to show people what's in them. And maybe I don't know every single thing about an oil filter, but I bet you I've cut open more damn oil filters than anybody in the damn internet so far trying to test this shit out. And I wasted a ton of money doing it when I'm comparing, okay, Mopar looks like this, but that looks the same as a Purelator. That looks the same as a damn Motorcraft, which makes wait a second, I'm seeing something here. There's only like 2 or 3 damn companies that make all the damn filters for everybody anyway. And they're all owned by, what is it, Man and Hamill or something like that?
Yep.
So and they all come from the same place. And then I look at a man filter and I'm like, wait a second, how come a man filter looks like it's so much more robust and strong and made with better material than all the other ones? Well, it's because it's the head of the damn company that's manufacturing the rest of the filters, so it has to look better. And
yeah, I heard that about Amsoil. They just spec their filter and like Wix makes it.
Yeah, they're all being manufactured by the same people, and this is where people get all bent out of shape about, you know what, people just buy a good damn filter and change your oil. That's all we're asking. That's literally all we're asking. Just maintenance your stuff and care about it. That's really it. And I opened this FLA 20 and I pulled the top of it out, and part of the stamping where they stamped the center leaf spring was in the bottom of it. So where they stamped the leaf spring and then it gets pulled off and pressed into its shape, the little excess around the side was still dingling around and going with it when it dropped it in the filter, whatever machine does this. It was inside the filter with these little metal pieces. And I was like, wait a second. Luckily, it's on the outside of the filter on the dirty side instead of the inside where it could have gotten the motor.
Yeah.
I bought a 95 right from the dealership. You could hear the cartridge inside of it going thunk, 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 thunk,
No
thunk.
kidding.
I'm like, well,
Wow.
that's no good.
This guy says he's saying the same thing too. Exactly. I've personally seen the same with oil. It sounded like a maraca.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I
And
haven't
then
seen that.
a lot of them are showing up from Ford with like the sides completely caved in. We've got like 6 or 7 of them on the shelf right now where the sides are just caved in on them. And I'm like, how in the hell is this happening when we're literally pulling this out of a box? And then they're putting them inside the box damaged.
How do you, when you get your parts, do you have to get everything from your parts department, or do you have like, do you guys have like a separate room that's got like all your filters and everything, and you just go get your filter? Hey, can you charge out, so does everything you get come from over the counter?
It's literally right at the counter with the parts counterman, and we literally have to get it right from him. So we just got a new manager, and we're running 2 managers right now, because back in the day, we used to have a warranty advisor, a service director, and a service manager, and it would flow, dude. Like, people would talk about how well the customers were taken care of, how well the technicians were taken care of, how the business would flow, and parts was happy. Everybody was happy. Well, they got rid of that, and they were trying to cut money, and then new owners came in and new owners came in. Well, now we have 2 managers because one wants to transition back to Toyota. But I actually spoke up the other day and I was like, well, wait a second. Everything is flowing really well right now with a director and a manager here, or 2 managers here. Why would we screw something up when we're already going up in thousands of dollars of revenue already, and the customers are super happy, and we're turning work over better now than we ever have before? Don't you think it would be stupid for you to go back and then think about the parts situation? Now, parts is getting more help. We have a middleman that can put out the fires and stuff like that. And now I'm not having the new manager came in and opened up X Time and said, I don't even want you guys dealing with parts anymore. I want you going on X Time. I want you to put your X Time and stuff in and use the message box. That's what it's for. I never want you guys wasting your time with parts, because parts is a big waste of time a lot of times anyway. So type in what you need. They will bring it out to you. You guys have no business going and grabbing parts. You guys are technicians that need to be making money on jobs, and that's how it should be. You should not be going in that room having to track down parts, and they should know their job. Well, now it's more efficient. Now they're pulling filters, they're pulling our parts and stuff out. They're actually starting to plan and bring stuff out to us. So now that whole getting parts, every little thing over the counter, it's pretty much eliminated the stress of that, because it used to be a complete shit show before.
That's how
Wow.
our parts went. We went into Reynolds parts. They had it all set up. We say we need to do this job. All the parts come up. We hit enter, and they were supposed to bring them all out to us.
That's how it's supposed to be. That, like, if you or ARod or DS is trying to do a fuel contamination job, you should be able to click on that subset and it drop everything down for that 6-7 to do that kit. Everything.
Thank you.
It should already be there, because if you have a parts manager that knows what's going on, he'll take a big job like that, because it's not an uncommon job. Yeah, we're not getting them, every single day of the week, but they're common jobs. We should have that itemized in the computer where ARod goes in there and says, you know what, I'm doing a 6-7. Here's the RO and stuff right now. Give me all my parts for it. He should be able to walk out, walk away, and it should be done. But A lot of guys don't.
quantities and everything.
It should all
was-
be.
How ours would work is we would get the truck, we'd look at it, we'd say we need these parts, blah blah blah. If it was customer pay, after that it would get sent to the advisor. The advisor would call them, get the okay, then the advisor would send it to parts, and parts would bring it down when it was ready. And that's how it was. If it was warranty, it'd go straight to parts.
Right.
And parts would just bring it right down.
That's flow. That's how it should be.
But the biggest thing was getting parts to bring it down.
Right.
This guy just
That was
commented,
a fight.
and this just made me kind of laugh. What is he commenting on? He's commenting on one of my shorts. He goes, the 2023 and 2024 won't have them either, talking about the air filter minder, but they will be back in 2025. Don't ask how I know because I can't tell you. But the 2022 through 2024 does have the air filter dummy light on the dash. I respond, I'm like, the 26s, oh my God. And I'm not talking rims. He says the 2026 is badass, but they're still making changes. But from what I've seen, it's fire.
From what I know, 23 is going to be a good year.
Now that's exciting. I'm excited. I don't know about you. I'm excited for the anniversary video that is going to be coming up. I'm talking about 11 through 21, every 6-7. I'm excited for you guys.
You gonna put the pot metal injector hold downs in there?
To do what?
Are you gonna put the pot metal injector hold downs in there as well for the early model ones that were popping the injector hold downs off? Snap them?
Oh, yeah. They, I had a couple of classic boys, an 11 and 12 sister trucks. And then the 13, I had to save the 13 for the 1,000,000-mile truck. That got like a 3-minute segment just for itself, just because it was the 1,000,000-mile truck. It was cool. I still have to get him on here. I know he's just a slave to the road or his truck, so he's kind of hard to live stream from his truck. But what is
dude, the guy that took like the 350 and it was a short or it was a small video or something where he took a 2000 or 2001 7.3 and he extended the bumper out wider and he built a custom sleeper cab onto the front of his F350 and made it like extra long and then extended the frame and everything.
I think I seen that. Yeah.
That was ridiculous. And they were like, what modifications have you made to the motor to handle all this? And the guy was like, nothing.
None. Nothing.
Everything's just all bumper and body stuff. Like I haven't had to touch this motor and transmission setup. It's been phenomenal. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? All this extra weight, the extended frame. And he was like, no, the motor takes it just fine. No problem at all.
Yeah. Wasn't it like almost as big as like a semi truck cab sleeper?
It looked almost like it. Yeah.
It was like a teal truck or something.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, man. They need to bring that back, man. I wish they could bring that motor back and just make it a little bit more efficient or whatever they got to do to
more power
to kiss
Needs
the
more
EPA's butt.
OKC Jeeper asked a good question about the meetup. It is going to happen. I was talking with the shop. I think what we're hoping in doing is maybe having everybody come up to the shop as the venue. We have a huge lot to the side of me and to the south of me where we all can park our trucks, truck show, coffee trucks, barbecue and trucks, Powerstroke and truck. We're still throwing around that idea, but it is going to be happening. I'm just waiting on confirmation to figure out the details because it's going to be getting cold and I want to definitely do it before that or before November, obviously. Chance to see Ford Boss Me, chance to see me, DS, Cody, all four of us are going to be here. hopefully get reeling, get Meat Man Matt, get a good crew up there, get the community. I'd like to see you guys with your trucks. It's different seeing you guys in the comment section. Everybody I've talked to on email and whatnot. So all you local boys, check it out. 4x4 Bronc, that short. DS, that the sunroof lubricant. You said you ordered that from Rotunda, correct?
Yeah.
Has Ford Bossy ever used that?
That's the stuff that he uses, the stuff you're actually supposed to use.
Correct.
Yeah, but I've not, I mean, I know they say to use that, but once they're out of warranty, if the customer doesn't want to pay for it, if the dealer doesn't have it, I'll use the Motorcraft, the silicone, because it's wetter and it has a higher silicone count to it, or like it feels like it's slippery, more slippery. And I'll clean everything real good. And I'll take my time doing all that, and I'll spray those channels and stuff down with that silicone. I never have them come back, but the stuff he had is the stuff you're supposed to use. But I've rarely seen a dealer actually have it in stock.
Yeah, it was quite expensive. I know they changed. At first, they just had that real little tube, and that stuff was expensive because it didn't go far. But then they came out and said you can use the Krytox weather strip thing. It gives you an applicator too with it, and still expensive, but it goes a lot further. So it's
longer.
It's a premium lubricant. It's still you got to redo it quite a bit, every 6 months or so. But I was out there today. I just took that lubricant, and you could just squirt it around the whole perimeter real quick, and just let it soak in. That's just pretty much what I did.
Yeah. I mean, you get, I think it's about a half hour you get to do it with like the TSB or something like that is what they'll pay you, but it's like a half hour to an hour or something. And if I don't have it, I'll still apply instead of charging the customer more than, I'll still go off the TSB time if they're out of like warranty, just to be fair to them, because it's not their fault. And I'll just go around and I'll use my trim tool, and I'll just either try to pull back areas to clean behind it, or clean in specific areas. And then I may even get crazy enough and find like a super thin trim tool and take some alcohol and then go in areas that it doesn't even specify you're supposed to clean, because I don't want them to come back. I don't want them to be mad, or upset with us. And then with us not having the Krytox or whatever, Krytex, whatever the heck it's called, I use the Motorcraft silicone, like our labeled silicone, and it never comes back. I've never had one come back.
The problem is if you're already in the dealer, you want to do something before you get into the dealer, before you hear anything, before it gets jammed up or anything. You want to maybe get some of that Motorcraft stuff and prevent it from ever getting stuck in the first place, because that's when the damage can happen. The motor's fighting to try to free that seal. You don't want that. So,
and that's the thing that's been around forever. Manufacturers have been having problems with sunroofs, maybe some more than others, but we have a guy that comes out and he specializes in water leaks and sunroofs. And some of us can actually do the sunroof repairs and stuff ourselves. It takes a little bit longer than somebody that specializes in it and does it every single day for a living. But he comes out and he says, you guys aren't the only ones. I'm at Toyota and Chrysler, and they're all having these kind of chattering problems. The track's breaking and stuff. They're all making noise. They're all binding. It's just, they make these sunroofs and stuff out of cheap, chintzy plastic. The guides and stuff are cheap and thin. It is what it is.
Well, I know working on the line and putting that sunroof in the truck, man, that is a process. It's amazing that they can add the option for like what, $2,000 or something. It's like it starts off on line 1 and they're securing that thing all the way on line 4. It's just like so much that goes that's involved, but it's crazy to think that it's 2 panels of glass, and if even a stationary panel will just creak and make noise because the body's flexing and you got glass. So, it's an ambitious thing to have all that glass right above you. It probably would be more reliable if it wasn't 2 panels of glass and just one. and have the other side be just sealed. But then again, that don't make sales. So yeah, just it's extra maintenance. It's something that's not really talked about, and a lot of people just don't know about, putting that lubricant on it, some kind of lubricant that's safe for rubber. Anything's probably better than nothing as long as it's safe for rubber.
That's two things I would like to see people add to their maintenance schedules. What you just talked about there, that is a maintenance type thing. If you have a vehicle with that option, it'd be nice to see the people save a little bit of money, but be very careful and clean and lubricate the track and stuff. But also the electric or the steps. The motorized,
most definitely.
it should be something that even the dealer could have it as an option for the customer for an extra 3/10 or something like that. Let us go through, blow out all of the pivot points. Let us go ahead and lubricate all the pivot points for you while you're here to stop you from coming in and having to spend $1,000 or more for one running board and motors being locked up or whatever. Just a quick, let's go through and let's lube them up real quick. Let's take some shop air and use some, freeze off or whatever it is, spray the connections, blow that stuff back in there with shop air and all the joints and stuff. And then let's put some fluid film or something on it and just wipe it clean to dress it all up. And it could be just a quick maintenance thing. The customer can do it home, or we can do it right there at the dealership. And I've asked that multiple times to management. Why don't we have that as an option? Is something cheap that we can add on to a works package or something like that? Just do it. You're there already. Just do it.
Because these people in high trim trucks, I mean, you get a guy that's going to buy a platinum truck. He's probably not going to know.
Right.
He's probably not going to know to maintain all this extra stuff. That's not why he bought the truck. He didn't get a truck because he wanted to maintain all these moving parts. He just wanted the best truck, cool truck.
But when they come in complaining about their running boards not working correctly, and you tell them, well, like, technically this isn't under warranty. Well, what do you mean it's not under warranty? Well, did you know in the owner's manual that there's actually a procedure for you to clean your running boards? There is.
But then you get some guy in there who's like, what if he comes back to you and says, I don't maintenance the truck, you guys maintenance the truck, I bring it to you, I don't even touch it.
Well, where it really all falls down on. Somebody brought up a good point today. Yesterday, when I was talking about resetting the windows on a 21 F-150 and the bounce back feature. Somebody did comment, and at first I had to think about it, and then I was like, okay, he's right. There's no reason to be upset about that because he is correct. When that customer bought that vehicle, why did the salesman not go through all of? They could have. Maybe a customer might lie and say, you know what, I was never told that, I was never shown that. But now with all the manuals being moved over to the radio screen and people not knowing how to navigate them properly and what to look up and stuff.
What are you? I saw the thumbnail. I didn't click the video. What bump stop feature are you talking about on the windows?
The bounce back
anti-snag.
Yeah. So what it was it lost its memory for going all the way up and then stopping normal. It was going up and it was seeing a little bit of resistance and it was coming back down and it was staying open a little bit. And one of the lube techs came and grabbed me and said, hey, this customer is out here saying something about, this truck, the window's not closing all the way. And I was like, well, okay, let's go out there. This will be a good way for me to show you and teach you something while we're here. And then I can get into the manual and experience navigating. And we talked about this before when ARod brought that up, like a lot of the manuals are back on they're actually in the radio face now. You can actually go through and search things. And I was like, I want a chance to play with this as well. So I went to features and I went to owner's manual, and then I typed in WINDOW search. No kidding. And all of a sudden it popped up with all these window categories that teach you about the windows in your truck. And I scrolled up a couple and I was like, oh, window and operation.
If I had the book, it would have took forever to find that flipping through pages.
Well, a lot of people were like,
using a search.
A lot of people were saying stupid stuff like, oh, that's just a way for Ford to save more money and all this other stuff. And people really should have a paper manual. Why? You don't read the paper manual anyway.
Right.
At least this way, it's right on the screen for you to type in the keyword, and it brings up everything inside that manual with that keyword, so you can literally learn about what you're asking about. It takes seconds.
I like it. I like it being built in. As long as the infotainment is good, Now, what
Yeah.
about the XL truck? It don't have. What if the XL truck? I wonder if they got to put the manual in there if they don't have the big screen.
Well, this was a this wasn't a high trim level truck. It was more of like one of the nicer STXs.
Oh, okay. So it had a
and-
little screen.
Well,
smaller.
you know how the big trucks have the giant freaking screen now.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'm still not used to yet. This was an STX, but the STXs
Has the
still
old.
have.
Yeah,
they
it has
still-
what the
they-
old Lariat would have, like that size.
It's a nice screen still, and you can still see everything that's going on.
What's so funny?
Vito, his nickname for you. We were talking about today. I was like, bro, Uncle Richie, bro, that what got me cracking up, man. He's like, I'm just spitting facts. He says he wants to roll out in that stinking Lincoln when y'all come out.
Yeah.
He said he's gonna pay for gas the whole way there and back. He said he got that fireman budget, so he good.
Well, I'll have the S trim supercharger on it then.
Oh, well, he said he don't care. He run premium, he run diesel, kerosene, it don't matter. He burn it all.
I called up Dino Tune MP this morning, and I talked to the shop foreman there, and I was like, "Do you think we could sit down and actually start putting it together?" And he's like, "Look, what I'll do is I'll get you the Vortec S trim for the 4.6. It's a 4.62 valve, guys. If you
Yeah.
don't know, it's the sexiest Lincoln on the planet. Just don't say nothing
What
about
color,
it.
what color? What color? What color?
It's that blue ice."
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an S trim. He can get that. He can get the 80 millimeter MAF and the Cobra injectors and everything. But then they want to order the piping actually from ADTR, so it's custom fabbed and painted and done already. So he said instead of $6,500 through ADTR, we'll be able to piece everything together for the Lincoln for probably like $4,500 or something like that. And you're talking just base tune 425, 450 horse, but we can't go any more than that because the rods in that motor won't take it. You'll have to upgrade. Hello.
And
hello.
P-
I was
there you
just
go.
reading.
You
this
need
comment
that
right here.
NPI short block.
I did see that. That was
That'd be
pretty
cool
nasty.
though, because I mean, it's not. How expensive is it to get a short block on that?
Well, they have like he was talking about that. Well, they have a 5-liter board and stroke, but now they have a 3-liter board and stroke. They can handle up to 1,200 horsepower or something like that. But you're paying
What?
How do
What
you
is it
get
like?
how do you get 1,200 horsepower to one of those things though? You gotta nitrous and supercharge and all kind of stuff.
Actually,
Well,
he's got NOS. It's not nitrous. It's NOS.
just like it's not.
I was just talking about the non-performance enhanced engines because they had forged rods like the earlier two valves,
You're talking about them, like with the so
like
what they were
98 Mustang.
So they were, yeah. So you could run that motor, and then you could run the non PI heads. You can run the PI heads on a non PI motor, and you get better compression, and you make more power. And when you cam it, it sounds better, guys say. And it's actually the best bang for your buck if you get the like you just said, the non-performance improver setup, and then put the PI heads on it. It's
More compression.
Right. The dishes, or what is it, like the dish is smaller, or the bowl is smaller, so the
I
compression.
don't remember. I remember.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I met the guy in the junkyard pulling heads off of Crowvix from Modular Head Shop. He had a freaking wheelbarrow full of freaking PI heads in it. Like, there's all my PI heads going right there. $50 a pop off these freaking taxi cars.
This goes to show you some of what we're hearing on the internet too. Like, you'll see a lot of guys talk about these Panther cars and stuff like that, or just like 4.6, 5.42 valve in general, in the trucks and the cars. And they'll say stuff like, oh, you can't make that kind of power doing this. You can't do this doing that. You can't do that doing that. You can't red line this motor like this. I'm like, bro, I red line this thing every single day. Every day. Every day, all day. And it takes it
Every
beautifully.
day, all day.
And he's like, well, you must have like some kind of dude, it's a 4.62 valve. There's nothing unicorn about it. And then you watch people like Richard, what's his name? Richard Henderson or something like that, the dyno guy. He does he's the ball-headed guy that does all the motors and stuff like that. He does like the LS stuff, the Dodge stuff, the Ford stuff, and he shows you from minimal to expensive what you can get out of these motors. And the guy took a 462 valve and ended up running a trick flow kit through it. I think it was like a Comp Cams something 2082, I don't know, CA, or I don't know what it was, but the cams, the head, the upper end swap setup, he made like 390 horsepower, 400 horsepower with just an upper end kit. And people are telling me like, oh, you're not going to make that. Dude, we have a guy on YouTube that's showing you live every single day, and he's doing videos showing you exactly what he's doing. And you're saying that you can't do this stuff. How do you even? And that would be like me coming to you and saying, you didn't clean the top of that oil filter right, and now it's all over it, and now it's leaking. You didn't do that, and yet
You didn't do that.
And yet you just showed that you did it.
Oh yeah? Well, I beat my 462 valve off the limiter daily, no problem. So
Daily. And I got the paddle shifters, bro.
oh, did you guys know that? This guy's got the setup.
I don't know, man. I kind of like that 2.7 you showed us, that Bronco.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like that engine, man.
And
I
got the
know
paddle shifters.
people, don't like all the technology. It's got dual variable valve timing and it's doing all this stuff, but
Ford
Man.
technicians love it too because it loves the leak.
oh, the 2.7 does. I've had, well, you guys have technicians. You guys see the problems.
I hate doing those oil pans, man.
Every 2.7 I've had has been so good, man.
So I'll tell you, my first experience with the 2.7 is we were leaving the dealership down in Louisiana. I worked at a dealership down there, Billy Wood Ford. And
Billy
the Chevy
Wood.
the dealer we had across town wanted the 2.7, and we had another Chevy that we were going to take to them and bring one back. And there were, we had, a Honda dealer, a Chevy dealer, a Ford dealer. We had a couple stores. And when I left in that F-150 2.7, and my apprentice my apprentice at the time, he's an oil field guy that was laid off. He left in that bow tie truck, man. There's got to be a Chevy, or all this. Okay, let's go, man. I'm going to show you what this 2.7's got and what that 5.3 ain't got. So we leave across town, and we're in these trucks that they're not sold to anybody. We still own them. So before people get their panties all in a twist in the comment section, relax now, relax. So we come to a stop out in the middle of nowhere, and I've got this 2.7. I'm on the damn brake, and I've got this thing racked out to the point where it's about ready to start
doing a little brake boost.
Yeah, and you can hear them turbos just starting. He's got the Chevy.
Yeah.
This damn thing sounds like a can of marbles about ready to let loose, right? So we at the same time, man, and that damn 2.7 took off and left that truck sitting there like it was nothing, man. And when we got to the end of the road, he pulls up there and he's like, "What the hell?" Yeah, I said, "Man, you're running a stock, you're running a stock Chevy." And I've got a twin turbo 2.7 over here. There's no replacement for displacement, right? Until you add power adders.
Bro,
Yeah.
I just
Well, they had two
walked you.
turp skis like right here.
What do you want?
Yeah. Dude, I love the 2.7, the way it's laid out with the water cooled exhaust manifolds, two turbos. I think honestly, just having two smaller turbos, I think you achieve having just one bigger one, but you don't have the lag. You still have
Right.
the flow of the two combined. I don't know, that layout, man.
Look at the guys in Mexico that are doing they have the YouTube channel, the Mexican street racing stuff that they're doing. They come and they grab 5 liters, 3.5s, 2.7s. A lot of them got the different LS motors and stuff like that. And when you watch that YouTube channel where they show racing in Mexico, the Ford F-150 and 250 line are destroying these trucks. Like
The 2.7s are?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well,
There's one dude that has a lower truck. It's got a gear set in it. It's tuned. It's a 2.7 liter with a cold air intake. It's got some smaller pulleys and stuff like that. And these young kids, he's only like 23, 24 years old, and he's eating these boys up with this truck.
the main advantage the 2.7 has, even over like the 3.5, is the water cooled exhaust manifolds that integrated into the heads. Aside from that, That's the one thing that 3.5 does not have. Still has a conventional exhaust manifold.
But
That's
you know
a big
what?
factor, though. That's kind of
I
a big
mean,
factor.
early on, the 2.7 had the problems I was experiencing in 2016, 2017. In a year span, I had 3 different trucks come in where the valve seals were leaking, and they didn't have 30,000 miles on them. And Ford actually had some kind of bulletin or something out at the time. And it was like, if the truck was made from this to this, and they actually gave me the approval, okay, go do the head on this side. You're going to have to do both heads on this truck. You're going to have to do the driver head on this truck. And I would go through and do exactly what they were telling me, and it would fix the problem. And the customer would never come back again because it was smoking a little bit on startup. And then it would consume just a little bit of oil. But after that, I never had a single problem again with a 2.7. I rarely see them ever in the shop for work other than leaking oil pans or maybe some kind of front cover leak or something like that. But that's literally it. No hard problems with them, no like major repairs or anything. I rarely ever see it.
It'd be interesting if Ford could take that layout and just maybe get rid of that 3.5 and just have the 3.5 take the layout of the 2.7, because it's a totally different engine. You know, the 3.5's aluminum.
What I'd like to know is why we're so successful with a 3.5 and a 3.7 and a 2.7 liter and a 5 liter Coyote, even though it's a little bit noisy and guys complain about it. How come we have all this other stuff figured out, but we can't figure out the damn 3.5 liter EcoBoost to save our life?
But I don't know. I guess it's because they're made by different companies. I mean, Ford has sourced, I think they sourced different engineering firms or different companies to design the different engines. I think the 3.5 came first. It was built off of, I think it was built off of that original Duratec 3.7. And it's kind of just an evolution of that. And for whatever reason, they haven't, you know, then I think a different company came and did the 2.7. It's a totally different, it's got what, a multi-piece block where it's got an iron, compacted graphite iron block. And then it's got a different midsection and a different, what, the core of it's iron, and then the top's aluminum. Then it's got a big cover in the front too. So it's just, they're all different. For whatever reason, they can't standardize. I think they should standardize one kind of design, make it a V8, make it a 3.5, and not have so many different designs. But you put all the money.
There's a lot of guys that critique them about that because they're trying to do too much, too fast, and give people all these different options, and it's causing a lot of complication trying to keep up with everything and all the different problems and stuff that's going on. Maybe a standardized type of design or line would help out quite a bit.
They're trying, though. They're trying to get there, because if you look at what GM has done for so long, they've had the 5.3 and they had the 6.0. Then they had the 6.2, but they were all push rod engines. They were all very similar in design. They were all, I mean, if you could work on one, you could work on them all. Even their 3.8 V6 that they had, 3800 V6 with the push rod, that was still like a, the tooling for that engine was so old. That was a odd fire V6 when they had to put a balance shaft in that motor. And I think they finally got away from that when they came out with a 3.5 V6. But yeah, they had so much standardization for so long. Their stuff, that's why I liked GM back in the day, because it's so easy to work on.
I mean,
Ford, you know,
we did have a standard motor, the 4.6, 2-valve and 4 valves. I mean, it's a pretty standard engine until we started changing it.
A lot of people are asleep on that setup, man. If Cody, if you, as much as you've seen performance vehicles with that 4.6 setup, there was no reason why they couldn't have continued to carry that over and still made it even better. There's guys out there making 1,500 horsepower in sleeved 4.6 4-valve blocks that are pulling all the wheels off the damn, flying off like a damn rocket ship or whatever by the time it's all said and done. And guys are making crazy power with these 4.6 4-valves. Why did we ever get rid of it? Because you can't make money off of it.
The problem with the 4.6, though, in my opinion, is wasn't it a pretty big motor, being like overhead cam engine, big chunk?
They
They're
look
chunky.
pretty bulky and chunky.
They look bulky.
They
They're
look
husky.
big. I mean, the
They
5
really-
liter is just as big as the 4.6. So
Yes.
I
Well,
mean,
But they're
That's
starting to
the-
get on track with the new 7.3 because it's cheaper to build. The new 7.3 gas
That's the
is
problem
cheaper
right
to
there.
build.
Was the size of the 4.6 and the 5 liter right now are one of the number one reasons why guys don't like using those in hot rod applications, because they can take a 4.8 or a 5.3 or 6.0 or 6.2, and they can put these motors in pretty much whatever they want. And
Exactly.
they make tons of adapter kits for it. But you can't do that with a 4.6 or a 5.4 or a 5 liter. They're too wide of a bank engine. They're too bulky. They're little big Bertha engines that make quite a bit of power, and guys don't like that because they're not as universal as a LS
Right.
series motor is.
When you start modding an LS, it's cheaper to get power out of an LS just because of the size.
it's always been cheaper to mod a Chevy.
Yeah,
Always.
that
That's why
push
they
rod
put
engine.
Chevys in car. That's why they put Chevys in Mustangs.
they're good. They're good engines. And they're cheaper to mod. And when it comes down to it, all this overhead cam stuff, you don't really need it for low end torque and low end power. Push rod will
That's-
do it.
That's where they scare a lot of people away, is with the overhead valve or overhead cam stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta deal with timing chains and making sure these things are fine.
Right,
This
if you
dot
go to-
goes to this chain, this dot goes to this chain, and they all go to. Okay.
It's
big
scary.
deal. It's not.
It's a little bit more intimidating compared to a Chevy where it's just 2 gears and a chain. And then you just got to line up a few dots versus some of the Ford chains are like what, 3 chains?
Yeah,
More
some of them are
chains.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
when you watch a Chevy technician that's pretty good, that's pretty proficient, and then you watch a Ford guy tearing apart like a Coyote engine or a 3.5 EcoBoost. That guy that's tearing apart that LS, he'll have that sucker tore apart down to pieces and stuff like that and put back together before. And I'm looking like, what the hell just happened? And guys are like, why do you think everybody prefers to put the LS motors in? It's so easy to make
Here's
power with
here's
them.
another
They're
thing
cheap.
too though.
When I
about
took that apart, I couldn't believe how fast I had
Yeah.
the whole front. When I got to the engine, it was
Here's another thing though about LS engines. Because they were cheaper to manufacture, a lot of those electronics in the beginning were a lot better. Just because of the fact that when you start coming out with drive-by-wire and a lot of the sensors and stuff, they had extra money in the production of the. I mean, there's less. They're cheaper to build. I know my '99 Chevy Camaro, everything's like drive-by-wire electronic. This is back in '99, and then Ford, they had all the cams and they had all the dual overhead cams, all this stuff. But then everything was like vacuum tubes and goofy actuators and rat's nests under the hood. And it was like, yeah, I mean, it's easier to mod something where everything's plug and play and drive by wire.
Well,
So-
you also have to take into consideration with Chevy having that type of technology out before Ford did. When it came to the amount of power made in the late 90s and early 2000s, guys were always saying, why would I go out and buy a Ford Mustang that's making 225 crank horsepower when I can go out here and buy a damn Camaro SS that's making 330 horsepower with a factory engine? I mean, the technology, they were already building them and they already had more powerful motors at the time.
Right. And now Ford's catching up. Well,
Yeah,
they've caught
yeah.
up in the time in between as they came out with more technology and dual variable valve timing and all that stuff. But when you're talking about power off the line, you don't need that. All you need is that velocity from the 2-valve that you have in the pushrod engine. Just because they don't breathe great on the top end, that's good power on the low end.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that's why that 7.3 is doing so well right now. We don't ever have anybody, nobody's complaining about that motor at all. Actually, so many of the fleet companies that were coming and buying 6.7s are not even buying them anymore. They're just buying the 7.3s.
Yeah. I'm glad they did that finally.
Well, that's why Ford brought that out. And if you listen to a lot of the people that marketed that Super Duty with the 7.3, that was their way of answering for what people had been asking for. They wanted another style of easy maintenance engine that it was just happened to be a 7.3 pushrod motor, and Ford gave it to them, and people are ecstatic about it, and now people absolutely love it. And we have guys coming from halfway across the United States when we get them in just to buy them, just because their dealers can't keep them in stock. We had a guy flew out from Washington a couple months ago and pre-ordered a truck, and somehow it got allocated to somebody else, or something happened the way it was being built, and we had the same truck with like one or two different things that was coming in, and he flew all the way out here to pick the truck up and drive it all the way back. And I was like, these people are crazy about these 7.3 Super Duties. They love them. The maintenance is down. They make a ton of power. They're absolutely, they speak for themselves. There's a reason why they call it, what do they call it, the Godzilla or something like that, or whatever.
Yep. Godzilla.
One thing I would have liked to see though, and maybe it's coming out down the road, is that dual injection that they have. I think it make better power with that dual injection, a little bit more compression.
See, that's the problem with pushrod. You got to find a place to put that injector now.
Really?
On top of. Well, think about it. Where are you going to put the injector? The intake port's almost down at the block.
Yep.
I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think about it like that.
You got an exhaust manifold on the other side. So are you going to put that injector underneath the valve cover?
Oh, because the head's so much smaller versus those big 5-liter Coyote heads with the 4 valves and all that.
Well, the Coyote originally was designed
right. Yeah.
For
they had that
DI.
in mind. They had that in mind. Yeah.
Where is? I'm looking through the chats right now, and Fred Talion, I would like you to email me. You are going to be receiving some hot shots, and I'm going to pick one more guy, and he was the only other one that I saw in here. Buckwald Nathan Buckwald, you're the other one I saw in here. Email me, and you can receive the other one. Emails in the About page. I'll be awaiting at your leisure. But let me go in the bottom. Yeah, those are the only 2 channel members that I saw in here, and I told you guys I was going to pick 2 of you, and apparently one of you is getting the Diesel Extreme, and the other 18-ounce EDT, I believe it is. Yeah. Michael Chan, C. 430 gears. We've been summoned.
I don't got nothing to drink. I just drank
We've
all
been
this water.
summoned. So back in the very beginning, we were getting really hyped on oils and a lot of the stuff in DS trucks and his 430 gears. 430. There he is, right there. Nathan, email me. You and Fred, email me. I gotta get your address so that I can forward that information on. Going back and forth on his rear ends and 250, 350, 450, and he said 430 gears like probably 100 times in one episode. So a commenter was like, "Next time DS says 430 gears, everybody's got to drink something."
I must have missed that because I don't know what that's about.
Oh yeah, it was a.
I think
a long time ago.
I think Matt was clowning me because I said 430 gears, and I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't say that no more." He says it.
Yeah.
And then someone else was like, so we would go back and forth all the time about the 430 gears, and someone's like, "You got to drink to that."
Hey, that's a good drinking game. Man, so what about DeVito's truck, man?
That's pretty whack, man.
What happened?
LTIS or what?
Well, Anthony's got a 22, and ARod, had him come out to the dealer to see me because he had a couple other people look at it at dealers, and they claimed that they couldn't hear the noise that he was hearing on diesel, and You get up to about 30, 35 mile an hour, somewhere circa third, fourth gear, and then come to a nice moderate, not super heavy stop. You ain't got to slam on it, but pretty quick stop or even a lighter stop sometimes. And you could hear as it's downshifting, it will go fourth, third. But then when it's doing this, it makes this like metallic type vibration sound. It's almost like a heat shield or something rattling in the back of the truck. So, I bring it into the shop. Nobody's seen a 22 at the dealership yet, so they're seeing this big screen and stuff, and it's gorgeous truck, and they're like,
just getting his handprints all over his truck and the screen and stepping all over his carpet.
No, Anthony, if you're watching, I told everybody to leave that truck alone. I even told ARod, don't anybody touch that truck unless I know. and I get it up in the air, and I had several technicians ride with me, and they're like, yeah, I hear that. Wow, that's weird. And we get it up in the air, and we're looking at the drive shaft as we have somebody in the truck. You get it, ARod. Watch me now. Watch me.
I'm looking right at you, man.
You better do exactly what I say. Screw this guy's truck up. So I have him with no load or anything on it, nothing. Get it up to 35, 40 mile an hour, and then start to apply the brakes, but nice and easy. You can't do it real hard on a rack because it'll start jarring the truck and everything else. And I was like, shift it into neutral and hit the brakes and come to a nice moderate stop. And it won't do it. It won't make the vibration sound. But what we noticed when we were under it is the pinion and the counterweight that's on the pinion, it was walking like this. And it wasn't set true. What is it, Dana, that builds that, the rear end of the M300? Is that what it is?
Probably.
Yeah, the counterweight was walking back and forth instead of being installed true. And I was like, man, that don't look right. And then I started seeing a little bit of fluid on a brand new drive shaft. It's not abnormal. You'll get like a clear separation of like, won't be so much oil as much as it'll be like some of the residue, or maybe some of it separating just a hair. It'll be lightly moist around the actual U-joint cap when they're brand new, because they haven't really been driven that much. But this was actually to the point where the lube that's inside the U-joint was coming out around the seal and then making its way out onto the parts where it was all snapped together on the drive shaft. And I was like, I've seen a little bit, which is normal, but this is not normal. This is a little too much. So I want to get the approval from Ford while I'm in there to do the pinion. And then they said, if you got more than 20 thousandths run out, and it happened to be just a little bit more than 20 thousandths run out, then just replace it. Replace the drive shaft assembly, definitely replace the pinion and the counterweight assembly. And when it came in, I messaged Anthony, and I was like, yeah, your pinion and counterweight just came in, but it looks like something from the Amazon warehouse where some giants were kicking soccer balls back and forth, because there's holes busted in the box all around it. Ford didn't even package it in any kind of. You're talking about a sensitive item, a big hunk of metal that's supposed to be weighted and a counterweight pressed on and installed a certain way. Why would you pick the smallest box in the warehouse to put it in, and then take no packaging, no cardboard, no nothing to isolate that thing in the box, and just say, oh, we're gonna ship this 8-pound, 10-pound item of this chunk of steel, and we're just gonna ship it like this and hope it makes it there in one piece. The box was ripped open on the side, the counterweight assembly, the pinion was hanging out of it.
Crying out loud.
It was all busted in pieces when it showed up, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? How do you ship this? So I inspected, I'm looking at everything, I'm putting like a true gauge and stuff on top of a block of steel and setting it next to it, making sure everything's installed straight and set on there right. And then I'm like, you know what? At this point, I mean, what option do we have? This full send, it's going on the truck. So, and then I get the drive shaft and stuff out of it, and I'm looking at. I had to call you because like, how in the hell am I going to get this? It's a 46 millimeter nut on here. I don't have a 46 millimeter socket. So luckily the Mac guy was he was there, or he was showing up. So I said, give me the best 46 millimeter socket you have, and he got me one that specifically sits inside that's made for drive shafts and stuff, and rear end type work, heavy duty work. and he gave me a deal because he knew I needed it. It was like an $80 socket. He ended up selling me for $59, and I had to buy a $275 puller in order to get the.
Damn.
I bought the whole kit that night, and he was like, "Look, I understand you're in a situation right now, so I'll sell you the kit for like $210. I'll give you a deal."
Seems like he's a drug dealer. Like these prices are still high. It's not like hey, I'm giving you a deal. Like, man,
That's exactly what they are. I mean,
so I bought it. I needed it. I wanted to get Anthony's truck done, and I got everything put back together and installed. No vibration from the driveline or anything at all. Everything's nice and straight. No wobbling or anything anymore. And it just sucks because when everything was said and done, I was really hoping that some part of that vibration was coming from the drive shaft, but it wasn't at all. I went out, drove it. It drove great, but back to after you warm it up a little bit, that 4-3 gear as you're coming down braking, getting that type of tinging vibration coming through from like underneath the bed area, right by the back of the trans. So I went inside, and ARod knew I was messaging him until like 10:30, 11 o'clock or whatever. He probably went to sleep, but I stayed at work. I was like, I don't want to leave. I want to make sure that I get as much done as I can because this guy needs his truck back. He just paid a ton of money for this truck. So, and I got the Steelman Wi-Fi chassis ears out, and I started hooking it up to the exhaust. It wasn't the exhaust. I hooked it up to the brake caliper. And at first, I thought it was a brake caliper because I could hear grunting, but then it quit. And I was like, that's not it. And I'm still hearing the sound. So I moved my clamps around again. Then I went back to the transmission, and I was like, oh, I'm hearing a little bit of vibration resonating through the clamps on the transmission now. And this is almost like sounding exactly what I'm listening for. Like that vibration is coming from the shifting inside the trans as we're coming to a stop. So I messaged Ford back again, and I updated them. I think they did message me back, but I was already ready to go home, so I wasn't about to open it up and get back into it again. So first thing in the morning, I'm going to have to see what the message is from them, where they want me to go.
Hope it's going to be what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Are they going to be like, hey, why'd you throw a drive shaft at it? You should have been putting your stethoscope on the trans in the first one.
No, because I updated them before I made the call, and they gave me the guidelines on what it was going to be to replace it, and it fit within those guidelines of what they were actually giving me instructions to do. So I should be fine there. And we tried chassis ears before, but the chassis ears that we had were corded, and that's out of date. That's like 1980s stuff or whatever. So when we talked to management, and they actually sprung, I think it was like $300 or $350 for an actual Wi-Fi updated nice Steelman kit, and that just came in. So I was able to.
That was a tool. That was a tool to figure it out. And then,
pretty much.
Now, did you have to do that while driving? Use that kit, or did you have to do that in the shop?
No, while driving, like out.
Because if you're on a hoist, it's not enough load to reproduce.
Yeah, it's not. And then so this is one of the things that I tried when I was doing this. I was increasing to about 30, 35 mile an hour across the parking lot, and I kept getting the vibration. I said, I wonder what happens if I put the trans in neutral right when I'm done increasing speed, let off the gas, shift it into neutral, and then come to a stop. No vibration. Only when it's in gear.
Wow.
And none of the vibration coming from the rear end, nothing coming from the exhaust like I thought, nothing coming from like the fuel protective shield underneath it protects the tank and stuff. I thought maybe that could be it. I moved it to different spots on the bed and the frame. I couldn't get anything there. But then when I went to the ears on the back of the transmission, I was like, oh, wait a second. It's kind of like exactly what I'm listening for. And even when I turned the sound down and I just listened to the vibration from the truck when it was happening, I still have a little red light meter. And every time it would go, the light meter would light up. And it would mimic with lights the sound that I was hearing. And I was like, well, I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer at that point. It's coming from something or in this transmission, or it has something to do with this transmission.
I wonder how that trans fluid looks.
I mean, it's all.
I'd like to plug those we had those wireless chassis ears. I'd plug those into the aux port on the radio and listen to it on the radio. Works great. Way better than having
Yeah, that
earbuds or
does
something
work
in.
great, but they took all the aux cords out of the new trucks in 2019, so that won't work.
That sucks.
Yeah, so what I did was I let it play through the updated speaker that's in the Steelmans now. So it used to be like before you would have this crappy crackling speaker or whatever.
Oh yeah, garbage.
It's a little bit clearer now. So it seems like maybe they and the handles on it are a little bit more updated and rugged now. So whenever you take it in the truck and you're sitting it down and you're selecting the different channels of what you want to listen to, it's a little bit more clear now. But the main thing for me was turn the volume down. Let the audible sound coming from the truck be my guide to when it's vibrating, and then watch the light and see if the light mimics the vibration that I'm hearing. And sure, right on the trans, almost every single time it was exact with what I was seeing. So I don't, this could turn into a mess. I mean, I almost feel bad keeping his truck, but I know he's going to need it soon.
Well, it sounds like you got it, pretty close there to being.
Yeah,
smooth.
I was never a good vibration and noise person. I couldn't hear crap, so I was like, I don't know, I can't hear it. All I hear is ringing in my ears, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, those got to be the worst ones. Trying to narrow down wind noise, water leaks.
Those are the kind of
vibrations.
things, though. Those are the
They
things
suck.
that are hard to get fixed, man.
Because none of us can hear. I mean,
I
It
mean,
takes
they bring their vehicles to the shop with the guys that are around impacts and air hammers and stuff, and loop techs that are taking the Raptor splash or the oil filter cover. Every time the damn loop tech's next to me, grab that 3/8 impact with that torch, and they go up to the Raptor. I'm like, what the fucking shut up! Did you get the freaking air power tool out instead of using that damn electric? I'm like, didn't throw something at you.
Oh my gosh.
we can't hear nothing.
Well, guys, I think that's where we'll end it tonight. I'm tired. I've been working hard these last couple of days. Thanks so much for dropping through, spending some time with your evening with us. We like connecting with you guys in the chat. Uncle Richie, DS, CP's Garage. I'm looking at Anthony in the questions right in the comments right now. He's good. Cracks me up. Thanks so much. Check out Ford Boss Me channels. Check out DS and Flying Wrenches. We're collectively building a really, really good community here on the internet with Ford trucks, us young guys, really trying to promote positivity and genuinely trying to help keep you guys rolling down the road with as least hit to the pocket as possible. So if you guys got any questions, you know where the email's at. Hit the comments, smash that thumbs, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.